Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So we continue our topic number 5. Okay. So in this topic, the second measure we want to look into is about the input design. So in input design, we try to look what is a kind of input methods or input technology that we can be used, and what is the design guideline need to be followed when creating input design. The quality of a system input determine the quality of the system output. So means before you create input design, so first thing you need to identify what kind of input you need to have. So once you identify the input that you need to have, so you can create a well input design form that meet to the input design objective, which is to provide the effectiveness, accuracy, easy of use, consistency, simplicity, and attractiveness. For example, if you want to create a login form, so what the input you need to identify to proceed the login form. So this is the example of the login form. So wait a minute. So I will show you one of the login form. So consider this example. So if you want to log into my UTM, okay, my UTM. So what the input that you need to enter to proceed the login. So suppose your input, maybe you need to enter your username, and then one more input, you need to enter your password. Okay, so maybe not username, so maybe you input the email, so you can also input your email, and then combination with the second input, actually your password. Or maybe you can input the what we call it, the user ID, for example metric number or IC number, okay, as a username. Okay, and then you input the password. So this is the basically two input you need to be considered when you design your login form. Okay, so we have a two input, either username, password, email or password, ID or password. So this is the example what I say you need to consider, or you need to identify first what is your output before you design the input design. So basically we have two type of data entry input. So batch input, actually data that you can get from the data entry. So it perform on a specific time of schedule, such as a daily data entry, weekly, monthly, or longer. And online data entry, actually the data entry that you automatically capture using the input device, such as RFID tag, magnetic data strip, or smartphone. And then, of course, this is the advantage and disadvantage of batch input or online data input. So this is the example of the input technology that we can use to capture the input design. For example, input media, so you can capture through paper, display screen, microfilm, and audio. Also, you also can capture your input through the input device like keyboard, magnetic character recognition, OCR, point of sale, kiosk, ATM machine, mouse, biometric, smart card, whereby you just scan the what we call it a barcode. You also can use the input technology from the graphical user interface element or control. For example, you're using a text board, okay, selection board, chat board, radio button, drop board list, slider, combo box, tag area. So this is the example. So you can capture your input using a graphical user interface element or control. And then how to convert from your DFD to input design. So consider the example, this DFD example. So in this DFD, so they have a process number 5 to add a new student. Okay, so one process number 5, add a new student. So in this process, the new student will fill in the new form. Okay, so here the student, you need to fill in a form for a new student, and then once the student key in the information inside the form, then the information will be the information for the new student record will be saved in the student master file, or we will save in your database. So here, so you can see the data flow, a new student form is considered input form, and then the new student record we consider information that we record to the database once the student fill up the form. And then if we want to print out the student metric card, for example, so you can retrieve through this process. So the example of user interface or screen input design for process number 5 can be create something like this. Okay, so you have the picture of the student, and then you have the information about the student, barcode, members, and then the total student detail, the what we call it, the others menu or link for this particular form. So this is the example how you convert this process number 5, add a new student to the input screen design. So this is the basically form that the new student need to key in, and then your information will be saved into the data storage or database. Some others guideline you need to look into when design the input. When design the input form is how to make sure your input design have a good form design. Your design form is considered good in design if meet to this criteria. Your form make user easy to fill out, and then your form meet the purpose for which they are designed. Design form to ensure accurate completion, and keep form attractive, simple, and look nice. So to make sure your form is easy to fill out, so you need to follow this technique. Okay, first, design form with a proper flow from left to right and top to bottom. So left to right, top to bottom. So, and then the second one, you group information logically. So for example, you group this information, okay, the student name, barcode, membership in one grouping, and then you group this information, plan, notes, history, medical, alert in one grouping, and then the detailed information about the student, date, country, state, postcode, okay, in one group of information. And then you provide the people with the clear caption. For example, clear caption for date of birth. So user know this box to fill up the date of birth. And then country, state. So this is the clear caption you state in your form. And then how to reduce the error rate in our input design. To reduce the error rate associated with data collections, the form should be designed to ensure accurate completion. In other words, design form to make people do right thing with the form. So in order to achieve this one, so you need to reduce the input detail. So you need to ask the user to enter only the important input. And then how to encourage people to complete our form. So system analyst should keep the form design attractive. To be more attractive, form should look uncluttered, and elicit information in the expected order. Of course, you need to design your form very aesthetic. Okay, so which means you use the different form within the same form can help make it more attractive. And then make sure your form design simple, and what we call it, easy to use. Also, to design a good display design, the system analyst needs to keep the following guideline in mind. For example, keep the display simple as possible. Keep the display presentation consistency. Facilitate user movement among display screen, and create an attractive display screen and pages. In order to keep the design display screen simple as possible, so the system analyst may divide the screen into three sections, which is heading. So they have a section for heading, body, and comment and instruction. So the placement of information on a form also is important. So the document typically include most of the zone that show in this guideline zone. So the zone is actually They have a zone heading, zone control, zone instruction, body zone, total zone, and authorization zone. So suppose the heading zone usually contains the company names or logo and the title and number of the form. Control zone contain code, identification information, numbers, and date that are used for storing complete form. Instruction zone contain instruction for completing the form. And then the part of a very important zone is actually body zone. So this is a main part of the form. So it contains of your form that you need to fill up. If total are included on the form, so that will be appear in the total zone. Finally, the authorization zone contain any required signature. For the occasional user, only 50% of the screen should contain user-full information, and 50% the rest actually for the white space. So this is the example of input form screen design for customer order form. So you have a customer number, so you can input the customer order number in the text box, and then you have a customer ID, so you have the item that you order, that the customer order, and then the description of the item, and then you have the quantity of the item you order, and then the price. So this is the example of the customer order form. So the another example show the Microsoft Access form for add a customer order. Okay, so the design have a many GUI component that allow flexibility in designing input screen for the web and others software package. So you can use any tools or software to create your input form design. So in this example, they use a Microsoft Access. So you can also use Weeby. So you can use HTML form to create your input form design. And then lastly, how to make the script more attractive. So to make a script more attractive, the system analyst may use a different thickness of separation line between subcategory. So you can also using a blinking cursor, pictorial icon, on-screen representatives symbolizing computer actions, and also you can use a different combination of color and different type of form. For example here, okay, so this is the example of registration form. So when I move over mouse to this particular tag, so it will change to the red color. When I click to the tag, so this will change to the shadow tag. So this is how you can make your form interactive. For example here, so if I enter my name, for example, Ida, it automatically change to the capital letter, and the tag change to automatically change to the blue tag. Okay, so this is one of what we call it, how to make it your form interactive. So icon are used in graphical screen to run, program, and execute the command. And lastly, graphical user interface are used in conjunction with a mouse for making selection and entering the data that I show in the example registration form just now. Okay, so you combine you conjunction between mouse and for making the selection, for entering the data. So I think that's all for the topic for the major topic number 2 regarding to the input design. So thank you.